Hey, Salesforce admins, it's July 10th, and we're officially halfway through 2025. Well, technically, July 2nd is halfway through 2025, so we're calling July 10th. But it's halfway through, which makes it the perfect time to hit pause and reflect back on some of the things that we were talking about way back on the 1st. Now, if you don't recall or missed that episode, I gathered the entire Admin Evangelist team, Jennifer Lee, Kate Lessard, and Josh Birk, for a kickoff episode full of predictions, priorities, and plans for the year ahead. So because we're halfway through, we're going to rebroadcast that conversation as like a mid-year check-in. And I want you to tell me, were we right? Were we way off? It's up to you to decide. So let's give it a listen and tell me how you're doing so far as a Salesforce admin in 2025. Let's get, well, literally all of us on the podcast. Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. There's a lot of people to introduce, so I'm going to go in reverse order. Jenn, let's start off with you. Can you give us a brief introduction and some of the cool content you've created last year at Salesforce?
Sure, absolutely. I'm Jenn Lee, lead admin evangelist, and you all probably know me as the host of Automate This, or How I Solved It, on our Salesforce Admins YouTube channel, or for reading my mega blog for each release. Some of the things I'm really excited that I created last year was, again, I love Automate This. I love the How I Solved It, bringing in trailblazers who showcase their skills and what they've built in their orgs. And I really enjoyed writing the blog on building modular flows and thinking about really chunking out and building out smaller flows to get ready for your company in moving over to Agentforce.
Nice. And got Agentforce in the first minute of the show. Kate, you're our newest member. Let's go with you next.
Hi, everyone. Kate Lessard, also a lead admin evangelist here at Salesforce, and I have been here since August, so still diving in. This past year, I've been really focused on Agentforce and have put together some content, including an intro to Agentforce blog post, talking about why admins make great AI specialists, and then also talking about advancing your admin career with dev fundamentals. So you might have seen me on the road at one of the Agentforce tours talking about core responsibilities. And in the new year, keep your eyes open for some new content about how emerging AI technologies fit into those admin core responsibilities.
Ooh, new stuff in the new year. I like it. And of course, Josh Birk.
Hi, everybody. I think actually I'm technically the oldest member of the team, but that's only by chronological age. I've been on the admin team for, I think it's a little over a year now. But I've been at Salesforce for coming on 15 years in 2025, all of them in evangelism in one form or another. And a lot of the things I've been trying to write about and post about in blog and video and some of our podcasts is really kind of trying to explain through some of the more technical side of artificial intelligence. You know, we have all of these terms. We've got things like LLMs, we've got RAGs, we've got vector databases. And, you know, honestly, frequently the concepts are far more simple than the terms actually seem to suggest. I'm on record for saying I don't like the term prompt engineering, for instance, because it sounds like you need some kind of union guy to come over and rewire your computer in order to, but is basically just talking to a conversational, UI in the first place. So definitely see more of that in the near future, especially as our Agentforce features keep expanding into things like RAG and being able to pull in, your knowledge libraries and your documentations and actually have a conversation with them.
Awesome. Well, and of course, anytime somebody goes to Trailhead, Josh, they're using something you invented.
I get a penny every time.
Oh, a penny. Yeah, a whole penny.
A whole penny.
That's before taxes.
Right.
Okay. Well, even in 2025. So speaking of which, we would be like, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, you're in the second day of paying for a gym membership that you think you're going to use for the rest of the month. I bet you're probably not going to make it to the 15th. Most of us, anyway. Or eating vegetables. That's usually the two things. At least those were my horribly tried out New Year's resolutions. But I'm going to start off with Jenn. So, Jenn, it's 2025. We've got 363 days ahead of us as Salesforce admins. What are you, as of now, going to start focusing on?
Well, of course, Agentforce. Who isn't? I'm very excited for 2 video series that I'm working on and hoping to put out soon. And this will focus around one will focus around automation and thinking ahead about how that factors into Agentforce and the strategy that you should think about and work through and bringing that along with your company. So that's going to be, I think, about 10 to 12 episodes. We're looking to do monthly. And then we'll be going through and, just like you all are learning Agentforce, I'm learning Agentforce. So I'm going to take you on my journey of how I'm working through various pieces. So really excited to put that type of video content out.
Yeah, we're excited to see it. Kate, similar question, but a little bit different. You were most recently in the seat as an admin. What are some things you should be thinking of as a Salesforce admin in January that would help set you up for success for the rest of the year?
That is a great question. With all the advancements in AI and with, as I said, admins being the ideal candidates at their organizations to become their internal AI specialists due to their unique understanding of business and user needs combined with their declarative Salesforce skill set, I'm going to be paying attention to new ways of managing admin responsibilities we already have in place. So one that is top of mind for me is security. New technology like Agentforce brings advanced value to admins, but it also brings new security concerns and the need for AI governance. So I have my eyes on the innovative ways that our admin community will continue to evolve in their roles while they're addressing these emerging technologies.
Yeah, that's good. Josh, you probably work on some of the most advanced stuff, and half of the words that you said in your previous answer I didn't understand. Are there things that you're looking ahead at 2025 to understand that you weren't on your roadmap for 2024?
Yeah, well, not to repeat myself too much, but it's been an interesting journey with our friend RAG, which is a retrieval augmented generation, which is a very fancy way of saying that the AI models can absorb information that was not part of their original training, their original model. And typically this is going to be in the form of things like PDFs and documents and things like that. And the reason why I think it's kind of an interesting journey is when we first started talking about RAG here internally at Salesforce, it was actually more about how our models were going to start getting trained on enterprise data. So we have all this wonderful custom metadata, right? And it tells the models what your custom objects look like, what your custom fields look like. And so they can consume that using RAG in a very nice and flexible way. You don't have to rebuild, an entire LLM for it. We didn't talk about it much back then because that was a behind the scenes, under the covers, this is how the engine is running kind of thing. Now it's actually turning into a very common use case where people are putting in, 500-page documents. Think about that mega blog, that Jenn was talking about. Think about having release notes available to you through a conversational, UI kind of thing. So it's something that's fastly growing. And when it comes to those, what's that killer use case that we could get into to have Agentforce really do good things for our company, RAG is turning in one of those big solutions.
Yeah. And it's another acronym for us to learn.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Let's pivot. We do a lot of things as events at Salesforce, and I know our admins, I always try to make it to a lot of events, but you can't make it to them all, right? Like FOMO is a thing. As you're planning your year, and Kate, I'll start off with you just to mix up the questions a little bit. How would you, as a Salesforce admin for 2025, look at events and what you could or could not go to? And Katie, bar the door. There's no restrictions.
Oh my goodness. Well, I would love to go to all of them. FOMO is real, but, not a possibility. I think it's really about prioritizing what you want to learn. So at the beginning of every year, I always try to think about, what are my learning goals? What do I want to come out of this year? And whether it's a specific certification or something like learning more about Agentforce and AI governance and security, to go back to my last answer. And then finding the events that are in alignment with that. So obviously things like TDX and Dreamforce are going to be great options because there's going to be a huge amount of content. But the community conferences are also fantastic, and figuring out which ones thematically match your learning goals is really the way that I like to approach events. And always maybe trying to fit in a fun new destination like Irish Dreamin' this year. So if you've never been to Ireland, maybe that's a good one to add to your event bucket list.
Wow. Budget. Not Katie Bar's
I didn't say my event bucket list, but
yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, I love all of those Dreamin' events, and Jenn, to pivot to you speak at a lot of the Dreamin' events. What are some of the things that, as an admin, you looked for and got out of going to some of these community-run conferences?
It's a different vibe from attending Salesforce events like TDX and Dreamforces. It's more low key, but you're actually learning from the practitioner. So it's beyond the things that Salesforce is focusing, but getting those really best practices and things like that from the people on the ground who are doing the thing that you're doing. And that's what really excites me about going to community events, because you're able to, learn from your peers and talk to them and ask questions. There might be something that you're working on that you ran into roadblock, but then you attend a session and then that opened your eyes and gave you ideas and inspired you to go back and try different things. So that's why I love going to community events and just seeing all the people in the community.
Yeah, and the time in between sessions is usually the most fun because it's when you connect with everybody. So
exactly.
I love that. Josh, I'm not going to ask you to pick between your two favorite children of TDX and Dreamforce, but I know you've been a part of both and building activations for both. I think, very real in the minds of Salesforce admins is, how do I justify going to one or both? What are some of the considerations that you would give admins as advice for planning their travel to one or both of those this year?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to point out that we've kind of acknowledged TDX's role as more of a builder-centric, conference, something that's really about enablement, and it's about knowledge, and it's about learning, and it's really about, kind of upscaling your career and your skill set. And so I think that's one justification if you're trying to convince your boss that you really kind of need to go to both, is that one's a really good learning experience and the other one is a really good networking experience. Not that you're not going to learn from Dreamforce, not that you're not going to get the good sessions and the good breakouts and all of that, but it is definitely we are kind of trying to make TDX a little bit more of its own thing on the map, as opposed to just kind of a companion event to Dreamforce itself. And the advice I always give people is, prepare. It's just like, go to Agenda Builder, make sure which sessions ahead of time that you're really going to get the most bang for your buck out of. And always that constant reminder, if breakouts don't have repeats, you might want to show up early, because if that's the session that you convinced your boss to send you on the plane for, make sure that you get a seat. So very much looking forward to them this year. Also looking forward to the community events. I'll echo what Jenn said. It's so, I used to joke, I'm not really a developer, I just play one on TV. Now, I guess I'm not really an admin, I just play one on TV. But it's like, we need to hear from you. Like, you're the people on the front lines. Like, you're the people who are actually putting these use cases together. You're going to be the people finding the weird little, niche things about these features that maybe when we kick the tires of them, we didn't consider it. So it's a great way to get that wonderful feedback loop kind of closed in.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Plus, going to TDX means sometimes you can eat at the restaurants around Moscone Center.
Right.
There's some really good ones there. Always food. This podcast always has food. Food and time travel, which is what we're going to do. So last question. And this is for everybody. And now everybody's sweating like, oh God, don't call on me first. Okay. Mike takes an hour and a half to ask a question. You have plenty of time. You can read War and Peace in the time it takes for me to ask a question. But we often time travel on the podcast. So we're going to fast forward. It's now the end of December 2025. You go back and listen to this podcast. And Josh, I'm going to start with you because I didn't start with you on any of the questions. You have to complete this sentence. It's the end of 2025, and I can't believe Salesforce Admins blank.
Can't believe Salesforce Admins found Agentforce so easy to work with. And I can kind of say that safely because it's something I've seen on the road a lot, and it's part of our job, right? Is to make it like when you say I'm going to go develop an artificial intelligence custom agent, it sounds like something that you better put on your scholarly hat and really dig in deep. What we're finding is it's just really not that hard. Yeah. So what I'm hoping is that as we do these enablement workshops and as we get the trailhead playgrounds and people can go in and kick the tires, and I just want to give that a shout out that's here in the present, not just in the future. That you can go get a free version of this, and you can go to Trailhead and you can start learning these things now. And I remember back when Lightning 1 components hit, and everybody's like, "Oh, what do we do?" It's like, what do we do about LWC? And it's like, well, don't panic, but now is the time to learn it. Like, now is the time. And the one of the things I've said many times in my keynotes is like, now is the time to determine your relationship with AI. It's your time to figure out what's going to make you more efficient, what's going to make you more productive, what's going to make your job happier.
Okay. Well, that was a great answer. Kate, you have to follow Frank Sinatra.
Oh my gosh.
So it's the end of 2025, and I can't believe Salesforce Admins
are creating dynamic user experiences this advanced. I think that a few years ago when Salesforce announced dynamic forms, that was such a game changer for admins, allowing us to create more customized dynamic user experiences right on those record pages for our users. And with Agentforce and Prompt Builder, that adds completely new functionality that admins can leverage to really create those dynamic experiences for their users, for their customers. And I think we're going to see not only a resurgence of creating those dynamic user experiences, but like now we have even more capability to do so. So I can't wait to see how advanced and how exciting those experiences are.
Yeah, a hackathon at the end of 2025 is probably going to look a lot different than the hackathon we did in New York back in November.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jenn, you get the final word. It's the end of 2025, and I can't believe Salesforce Admins.
Right. So not to copy what Josh or Kate said.
Oh, it's the hardest when you're the third person on a panel.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Ditto. That's what you should say. Ditto.
And the first guy just went ahead and went right to AI.
I know.
I would say I can't believe Salesforce admins can now do things like troubleshoot user management issues faster than ever before. Just knowing what Cheryl's team is doing behind the scenes and the things that they're working on, your mind's going to be blown. We're going to have agents that help you troubleshoot those things so that you're not spending all the time trying to figure out why Josh has this permission, but Kate doesn't.
Great answer. Way to close with a bang.
You know what's going to be fun is I'm going to save this, and we're going to do this again at the end of 2025 and see how close we were.
Oh,
because why not?
Why not?
And then hopefully we'll all say, yeah, so we could do that by June. Maybe not. Who knows? Thanks all for coming on the podcast and helping admins get ready for the new year. I know we have a lot of content lined up, so I appreciate it, and I appreciate your perspective on bringing things.
Thanks for having us.
You bet.
Happy New Year.
2025, here we come.
Oh boy, what a ride, right? It's always fascinating to kind of look back and see what held true and what surprised us. But again, huge thanks to Jennifer, Kate, and Josh for setting the tone back in January. I'm sure you've checked out all of the series that they're putting out of content since then. And now I want to hear from you. So how's your 2025 going? Are you working with Agentforce? Are you navigating new AI tools? Hit me up on the Trailblazer community and share your admin wins and your admin lessons. And until next time, we'll see you in the cloud.